Welcome to another 2-year kit review, where a piece of outdoorsy equipment earns a glowing report if it survives 2 years or more in my clumsy presence. What would be the point in reviewing something straight out of the box, right? You might get an initial impression of the product, but you'd have literally no idea how it would perform in the field, and no idea how it would stand up to the test of time. You could be giving people terrible advice. I mean, I suppose you could review more things, make more videos, get sent free stuff and make some money. Oh. Well, that's not how I do things here on 2-year kit reviews. I make sure I've trodden in a bit of kit properly before you get my verdict. And I'm ideal for this because I'm terrible at looking after stuff. I'm not proud of it, but maintenance is something I just can't get on board with. Just look at the state of my mountain bike. Poor thing. This beast literally gets tortured every single day, and has been at my mercy for well over 2 years now. Whether that's my daily ride to work, a nip to the shops, or, of course, a Dartmoor adventure. But this isn't just a review of my bike. I mean, how much is there to say? The wheels go round, the bell goes ding. It's a review of the concept of bikepacking itself. Bikepacking. An awkward portmanteau of bike riding and backpacking. Should these two activities be combined to create something even greater than the sum of their parts? To help me decide today, I have assistance from my beardy brother, who actually does look after his stuff. Look at that shiny chain. James would help me deliver a verdict on the viability of bikepacking and help me address some of the big issues.
Party rings are minging, right?
Yeah.
But I think some adults still like them because of the nostalgia.
Right.
Do you reckon Americans like Oreos because they just grown up with Oreos?
Right, yeah. It's like Oreos and milk, isn't it? It's their thing.
Yeah, cookies and milk.
They really need a custard cream and a cup of tea.
About no, I
And a
suppose
dunk.
you've not had a caramel digestive.
Not had a caramel digestive.
My bike is a Pinnacle Caperd 2, and James is riding a Trek Excalibur 7, hardtail mountain bikes. I like that their Excalibur has only got one gear on the front, keeping things simple, and as my brother is a bigger brother, he gets to have larger wheels, which gives him an off-road advantage too. Sorry bike nerds, that's about all the actual bike analysis you're getting. To put our velocipedes to the test, we're cycling up the Puffing Billy track on South Dartmoor towards the bizarre Dartmoor Volcano, about 9 miles north of Ivybridge, in one of the most desolate parts of the moor. If you're interested in why there is a weird track to nowhere, what the strange ruins along the trail are, and what the volcano and its accompanying lake are all about, then you can watch my other video about it, because today I'm staying on topic. Bikepacking. First up, if you think you can just chuck your backpack on, cycle to your camp spot and carry on as normal, then you're wrong. Or at least very tough. Cycling with a heavy rucksack is seriously uncomfortable and really hurts your lower back. No, to bikepack effectively, you need to distribute the weight onto the bike itself. Perhaps you could get away with a Wicked Witch of the West wicker basket on the handlebars and a set of clunky pannier racks on the back if you were cycling along the road, but we're in more challenging terrain, and such accoutrements would rattle, snag or fall apart. So, you will need to buy some specialised bikepacking gear, whether that's a handlebar bag, or a saddle bag on the back, or even a frame bag stretched into the triangular space in the frame. In my experience, the frame bags are fiddly to attach and don't have much capacity. Handlebar bags are really good and can hold a lot of kit, but are mildly in the way all the time, and saddlebags are just great. Hey, I'm actually going to review some kit for a second here. This is the Ortlieb saddle pack, and it's perfect. It's made of incredibly hard-wearing material, it can hold a lot more than you'd think, especially as you can strap stuff on the top too, attaches really sturdily, and operates on a very simple mechanism of just rolling up the end like a dry bag and clipping it back on itself. I've put it through hell, and it's not even blinked. Having said that, it cost way more than I'd usually spend on a bit of equipment, about £100. Basically though, packing for bikepacking requires a bit of trial and error, and working out what's best for you. I find that I've managed to minimise my camping gear to the point that I don't need the handlebar bag, and instead can make do with strapping my bum bag to the front of the bike and carrying a small backpack containing light items or those that I need quick access to. A lot of the joy in mountain biking is the speed and freedom and ability to cover long distances. So naturally, when bikepacking, you're going to want to keep things as light as possible, and this means compromising on the amount of gear you take camping. More on that in a bit. First, let's have a minor disaster.
Oh! My chain's just snapped. Have you got any tool for it? Sweet, that's alright. Oh, and I've got to remember which way it goes in and out of everything as well. I shouldn't have taken it all the way off.
This took a lot longer and was a lot fiddlier than I've shown here, especially when I lost an important little metal nubbin in a load of peat and cow shit. And I was glad that I had my level-headed and well-organised brother to hand. It would have been a long old push back to Ivy Bridge. A serious point here is that you need to be prepared. Better prepared than me, if you want bikepacking to go smoothly. And maybe it wouldn't hurt for me to put a bit of WD-40 on my chain every now and then.
Some form of propulsion.
Superb work. Do you know what? That was bloody good teamwork, that was. Yeah. In the face of disaster.
I was thinking that as well, because it was like frustrating.
Yeah.
But like it would only take like one person to be like, "Argh!"
Yeah, a bit of a dick. You're doing that wrong.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
And then it would just be,
Yeah.
And you got somebody else pushing a bike.
Oh yeah.
Might be fixing another chain in a second.
Anyway, what about the actual camping element? As I mentioned earlier, with bikepacking, there needs to be some compromise on the amount of stuff you take, so no axes, machetes or crossbows. Sorry bushcraft weirdos. And no barbecues, yurts or stereo systems. Sorry glamping weirdos. This means either going the way of complete minimalism like me, a mat, bivvy and a sleeping bag, and my lavoo of course, or going the way of the super efficient, tight packing, lightweight equipment like James and his Lanshan. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a bit of a greedy camping spot, George. Couldn't you get a bit more stealthy rather than looming over all the other wild campers for miles around? But trust me, I've camped out at Red Lake in summer before, and unless you get up and into a bit of breeze, you're going to be absolutely plagued by midges. Also, I can guarantee that if you don't pitch up on this perfect flat ledge halfway up the sky tip with a view of the sun setting over the desolate lake, then someone else will, and you'll spend the whole evening glaring jealously up at them. Food needs to be light too, so we gorged on some of my gourmet super noodles rather than a stroganoff. But James and I both managed to find enough room for a couple of beers and a hip flask. In fairness, at this point, I consider a couple of tins of IPA and some whiskey to be an essential and effective part of my sleep system.
Selfie stick wanker.
The wind died down, the sheet backed off, the sun sank beyond the lake, and it was to be a beautiful night under the stars. Morning rose and we downed some strong coffee. James is the only person I know whose camping essentials include a cafetiere, and we headed back south. It's time for that final verdict. Is bikepacking any good? Essentially, for me, it comes down to this. A slice of Hovis best of both. Half brown flour and half white flour. I jokingly call it worst of both, because it isn't as healthy as brown bread, nor as delicious as white bread. Bikepacking's like that. You can't fully enjoy the mountain biking, encumbered as you are with your sleeping stuff and food, and you aren't as comfortable camping as you'd normally be as you've left your luxury items at home. Mountain biking is great. It's freedom, it's adrenaline, it's swiftness. Wild camping is great. It's liberty, it's peace, it's adventure. But sometimes combining two great things doesn't make an even better thing. It's Alien versus Predator. It's jeggings. it's rap metal. No, that's not fair. Bikepacking isn't as bad as Limp Bizkit. It can be really good fun, and James and I enjoyed our trip rolling over Dartmoor. Not every bikepacking trip I've been on over the last few years has been as enjoyable as this one. The only reason our adventure went so swimmingly is because we were aware of the limitations, planned well, and knew how organised we needed to be. The Puffing Billy track wasn't too wild and technical, so could be managed with all our kit, and we both forewent some luxuries to travel really light. The distance was just right, a bit of a slog to walk but a breeze to cycle, and it was largely downhill on the way home, which is always a bonus. So although a bikepacking trip can be amazing fun, unless you're planning a very specific journey or you're prepared to splash out on top of the range lightweight kit, it might not be as much fun as just going mountain biking or just going camping. Manage your expectations and proceed with caution. I made this video with people new to bikepacking in mind to help them see if it's for them. But in reality, I know the majority of you watching will be people who already know what you think about bikepacking and are just watching this to see if I agree with you. Which is weird, but fine. If you're one of those people, especially if you disagree with me, then please leave a comment explaining what you need to do to make it great. Let's get some good hints and tips going for the newbies. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you again. Well, if anything else ever manages to make it through 2 years of my company. Bye-bye.